Ladies and gentlemen, John Jarvis right here. Good to see you, John.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. You're coming to us out of Toronto today due to all the pandemic stuff. Been locked up there for a little bit. But we had, what has it been? Golly, 25 years? 20, no, not quite. 22, 23 years since we wrote the song together called Soldier's King. And that was my introduction to real world music in Nashville. That was just mind blowing to me. And I was wondering when you got, Janie West was working for Oh Boy Records, and she was my song plugger, and she says, "Hey, I like that idea. I think someone else might like it too." I just always wondered what went through your mind when you first received the I guess it was a cassette, wasn't it?
Yeah, back then it would have been a cassette. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it came to me as pretty much a finished song. You'd written a song, and I can't remember if the title was "Soldier's King" or if that was in the body of the song somewhere. But she said, "What can you see adding to this, if anything?" And I'm always the music guy, but in that case, I thought it was already three-quarters of the way there. But I thought, what if we made a story out of it that had a beginning, a middle, and an ending, and a moral, and
Yeah.
somewhere out of there, I grabbed Soldier's King, and I'm old enough to remember, like, before Elvis's Christmas album and before, a lot of songs that came out when I was a kid was called The Little Drummer Boy, and uh, I remember a time when there was no Little Drummer Boy. Of course, you can't think of Christmas without thinking of that. And the funny thing about that song, after it came out, uh, you started seeing nativity scenes with a drummer boy in it. And it's like, there's no drummer boy in the nativity, but they started adding them from that song. And I thought, Soldier's King, Soldier's King. What if we can get this guy into the manger?
Right.
you know, and so I just started brainstorming the concept of a soldier who his whole life he'd had to um, he'd had to fight for whoever was in charge. He didn't really have much say, and he acted honorably, but it's whoever, the king or the Caesar or whatever. And now in his sort of twilight time, he finally found something that he wanted to fight for,
Yeah.
from his own heart, and that's how he makes his way to the manger. And uh, we pulled it off. I think we pulled it off really well. I mean, it's been recorded by a number of people. I know Kenny Rogers is probably the biggest, but it still hasn't had the presentation and the context. But I think it's a standard. I think it could be a standard if it was,
I
the right.
completely agree. But yeah, the nativity scene stuff that was something I hoped for, and I do believe we wrote a standard. I do. Matter of fact, it was included. I was surprised to find it on the internet. Just bored one day doing a search a long time ago, and it was included in 50. I think it was 50 greatest songs or greatest Christmas songs at one point. And I thought,
That's
here it
cool.
is. There's a step towards that possibility of it, gaining the traction it really should have, and a lot of faith in that song. And that's for someone else and someone like you to come along and have faith in something I wrote, that solidified for me. It just wiped away the doubts of what I wanted to do. I knew I had a long way to go and a lot of things to learn, but still do. But that just made it solid for me. The writing's where I was at. That's me.
That's great.